Big Little Lies, episode 3?
3?
Yeah, episode
and
3.
We're loving this series. We loved the first series. We're loving
did.
the second.
Yeah, I think I'm loving the second slightly more than I'm loving the first. It's so layered. Everyone's plot line is just so authentic and complex and yet real. And not just dramatic for dramatic's sake, if you know what I mean. And yet it's all intensely dramatic, which is really weird. So it's quite nice. I think what's really clever about... I think this series is gaining from a very simple narrative moment. I found the death at the end of season 1 quite unbelievable. I found all of it utterly unbelievable. Falling down. Oh, I did. The idea that
somebody shoved somebody.
No. But the idea that the group of all of our protagonists were there at the same time, it's all a bit too poetic.
Yeah, well, anyway, that's gone.
I thought that was nonsense. But the thing that it's given us that's great is the complications coming out of it, and I think that's almost making this a richer prospect than the build up to his death. That's what I'm trying to say. I think they're onto an absolutely rich mine here. So we started with Kravitz's mum is featuring a lot.
That's going to
she?
become a very big story.
It is, isn't it?
I think I've got a theory.
Yeah.
That brutal moment when she dunks Kravitz as a young child under the water. Well, here's my theory.
Ooh.
We know that she was an active alcoholic.
Who?
Kravitz's mum.
Right. I thought it was Kravitz that she was referring to. Someone corrected us and said she asked Zoe Kravitz. She said, "What about that time when you were drinking?" Didn't she?
No. The mum was Kravitz's mum is an alcoholic.
Right.
She said, "Oh, you're drinking wine again, Mum?" "Yes, just the one." "Well, as long as one isn't 100, that's what she said to her.
Okay.
So we absolutely know she's an alcoholic. She's very vicious. I think she was really brutal with Kravitz. So I think when she pushed him down the stairs, she was actually in a post-traumatic stress situation from her childhood when her mother used to beat her or beat up the dad. I think there might be domestic violence from the mum to Kravitz's father.
And you think she...
Think back to that scene in the restaurant when she snapped him down and he was scared of her. He was scared of her. So I think when this comes to court, because obviously it's going to have to come to court, that's not a spoiler, I mean, it's just obvious that it's going to. I think Kravitz's defence, we're going to discover she was an abused child.
And that she was having a sort of an episode, almost a sort of out-of-body epileptic.
PTSD.
Yeah. Oh, right, okay.
Because that flash of when she pulls her under the water, that's psychopathic.
But I love the way the series just lays those landmines and then doesn't seek to explain them anymore. Because there were only 2 moments, weren't there, with her mum, and they just tell you so much.
But do you see the similarity between, as we're seeing Nicole Kidman's character, we're seeing a kind of parallel with Kravitz and her mum. They're showing us the tender moments, like when she's lying in the bed with her daughter, and she's this hippie, and she sings songs, and she bakes cakes, and she makes medicine, all those beautiful things about her mother, but at the same time, she's the wicked, evil, cruel, abusing mother.
And obviously the fact that she threw this guy down the stairs is excavating all this for her again, isn't it, Kravitz? Which is why she's wandering the streets and mountain path
I've noticed
roads.
that she's lost a lot of weight, the actress. I think she's gone a bit method in it. She's very, very skinny. I mean, I'm sure makeup will have been putting in a lot of hollowing, shadowing there, but she's like this. She wasn't like that the first series.
And so Meryl Streep in part 1 heads off to our Fault in the Stars actress and insists on her taking a DNA. I love the way in which I thought that was very tragic, the way she's sort of ethereal and sort of nervously sort of playing.
She's got to be careful with it though.
Yeah, she's
because
teetering
that's when
on the
Meryl
edge.
Streep can tip into that mannered acting that we've all got sick of.
But I think there is something
What's that
really...
Nun film where she does a lot of that?
Oh, yeah. It's really poignant and sad, though. There's real pathos around the way in which she's trying to reconstruct or sort of somehow reinflate his sort of, his memory.
But underneath, I mean, she has done something to that boy to make him the way that he was. And now her plan is to get the twins and the other boy she wants.
So you think you said at one point that she's trying to corral them into her care. Do you think she just wants to look after them?
She's going to make out both the mothers are bad mothers, crazy mothers, drug addicts. Great moment when she got all the pills out. Nicole Kidman said the opiates were for when he kicked me.
Oh, yeah. But she just doesn't want to hear that. It's like water off a duck's back,
well,
isn't
who would?
Well, I know, but at some point you kind of have
Imagine somebody's telling you that about Maddie or Kiki.
Well, I suppose it's different when it's a boy or a man, isn't it? Because you know that
Not
they
really,
have the
because
power in them.
I'm going to put money on the fact that we're going to see that there's a domestic violence situation with a man as well.
So Laura Dern delivered some more fabulous
Oh
moments
my
of
God,
sheer
she needs a
ridiculous.
spin-off.
There just needs to be half an hour of Laura Dern losing her shit. Because when she loses her shit, no one loses their shit like
Do you know
Laura
what?
Dern.
I just love a part where I could lose my shit like
But
that.
she loses it big time, and she goes to hospital. She's suspicious of everyone in the hospital. She wants them to go to Stanford. She's absolutely ballistic.
But you know how they
She's
always say,
withering to her
you
husband.
have to have something vulnerable in the character to keep the audience interested. And we had a beautiful moment of that last night when the psychiatrist comes and says she's stressed about it. And she says, me?
Yeah.
Did she say that? Because her daughter is everything.
Yeah.
Her daughter is everything. She wants to give this incredible... We're going to find out more, I think, about her, because we know now she had a very poor childhood. So I think things were very difficult for her.
And we're going to find out
her whole life is about the making a perfect life.
Well, we're going to find out, and I think it's going to be really nice finding out, I can relate to that, the anxiety she has around holding on to not just wealth, but security. You know, she wants security. And you're right, when you get those moments, Laura Dern does it so well, her face can just melt to sheer vulnerability. And you see that back. And then there was that scene where she went into her husband's, where he's got his kind of toy trains, and she said, just get rid of the toys. And what was that bit where he says, there's something going on with you? And there's this long pause between the two of them. Do you remember that? What was he sort of inferring?
I just thought in that she's going crazier and
Right.
crazier.
Oh, not that there's something else going
Well,
on.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe there is, but we certainly haven't seen it. It's not like we've
Maybe
missed
he
something.
was referring to, maybe she looked like that because she thought he was referring to her knowing about the death.
What death?
The death of the guy.
Oh, that must be what he was referring
exactly.
to.
That's exactly what he's referring to. And also, let's not forget, because of the police looking into what's happened to him, they've taken all their computers away. No one's thought about that little plot line that was laid in episode 2. They're going to go through Laura Dern's computers.
What's on her computer?
Correspondence between all the women about covering up the death.
They haven't corresponded online.
Well, they all look very concerned in episode 2. I don't know if you remember that. So it would be a bit stupid. So you don't like any of the... you don't like any of the... so Meryl Streep finally goes to the police. I thought that was a good end of part, wasn't it, when she went in and said, you don't really think he just fell down the stairs, do you?
That was good.
But you don't like the Kidman in therapy. I quite like all the therapy
No, I like the
stuff.
therapy, but she really annoys me. The therapist, she goes...
Well, she's like therapist.
She's like this, she goes...
She's like...
No therapist would do that. You
Every
can't
therapist
look.
I've had has done
No,
that.
not like this.
Yeah, they've looked just like
Really
that.
suspiciously. No.
In the shadows.
It's a bit annoying.
Sitting in the shadows.
She's a bit too smug. She needs to just rough it up a bit, that shrink.
What did you think of them watching the monstrous husband who's been killed in season 1 on the iPad, pretending to be a monster? Little poetic there, wasn't it?
He was always doing that, wasn't he?
Because he was a monster. He was a monster.
I thought it was interesting. I liked the bit in therapy about when the therapist is saying, you know, that she treated war veterans and some of them would go back because they couldn't deal with peace. And she said, you can't deal with peace. And I thought that was really, again, poignant, because I think there's so many people like that in relationships where they think it's hell and they think they don't want it, but they have got addicted to something really toxic.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's good the way that it's exploring all that stuff
yeah.
and where relationships go wrong. So
It's a bit of a taboo, isn't it? It's a taboo to explore.
Yeah.
And then we had...
Love the school teacher.
Oh, the school teacher, the headmaster, the smoking headmaster, and the poor class teacher.
The loveliest teacher in the world.
The loveliest, yeah.
In fact, when he was sitting talking to the kids, I said to you, didn't I? I wish our kids went to school.
Yeah, exactly. But that's an entire different podcast, to be honest with you guys. Did you see good in him? That was when Meryl Streep was asking the Fault in Our Stars woman, who obviously he raped. You know, I thought that was a bit challenging for that poor woman being asked by the mother, but did you not see good in him? And I thought that was an incredibly... On the one hand, I thought it was very unbelievable.
She's another bloody psychopath, that's why.
Who?
The mother.
Oh, the mother, absolutely. But she's prodding everyone, isn't she? She's continuing the abuse.
Yeah, she's very...
She knows she's continuing the abuse.
She's very, very evil.
Yeah.
I can't wait to find out what she did to herself.
I can't wait to see where she ends up as well. And there's magnifying glasses that just sort of give you that sort of extra focal detail on her eyes darting about.
She's so lovely with the twins. They adore her.
Don't. And then, of course, we had all the...
But it's interesting because it's quite interesting watching Nicole Kidman starting to stand up for herself, like she's asked her to move out now.
Yeah.
Still, we had some nice moments with her and Reese Witherspoon.
Oh, yes.
Witherspoon?
Reese Witherspoon. Yeah, that's her
Her
name.
name
She's a
is?
Witherspoon. Yeah, Reese. It does sound strange when you say it. Say it again.
Reese Witherspoon.
Doesn't sound right. Reese Spoon with her. We spoon with her. We spoon with her. No, that's not it. Yeah, no, Reese Witherspoon had great... There's a couple of great scenes between her and her husband who are in the aftermath of him having discovered that she's had an affair. Wasn't it? She found him sitting and talking to Zoe Kravitz. You're right, you're trying to hold in a fart. You're like, what's going on?
I was not trying...
You
You
something-
have to say... I was trying to hold in a yawn.
Ah, I knew there was something being held in. Anyway,
It's late. We got up really
It is
early.
late, yeah. Reese Witherspoon. Anyway, Reese Witherspoon. Is she going to pull her marriage back from the brink?
Yeah.
You think so? He's a bit like...
Such
I
a
like
wet
He's a wet
blanket.
blanket, and I like the way the therapist actually challenged him
Yeah.
and said, but what
There's
about you,
different
Mr.
kinds of-
Avoidance?
That was really interesting that there's different kinds of infidelity.
Exactly, Missy. There's ignoring someone. There's not listening to someone. There's not giving anyone faith.
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 Are you giving your loved ones
Are you
faith?
giving the spoon with her a
What about the
faith?
faith?
Faith
between
to
you
the
both?
Witherspoon. So
Between
I thought it was
faith.
all great. And then it ended with an incredibly sort of challenging scene of them all. I love it when you pull a face like that.
To you?
No, I don't. I do. You look gorgeous. Look at you. Look, you've got your jawbones. Everything. So then we had a montage. What do you think of the music-y montage at the end with the singy-songy stuff? I didn't like that singy-songy
I
voice.
remember it.
There was a singy-songy voice that I didn't like towards the end. But then, of course, Nicole Kidman was masturbating to footage of her husband.
With breasts that she didn't have 2 years
Breasts that she
ago.
didn't have 2 years ago, but she was...
She's got some huge breasts.
And she was methoding like mad because her nipples were
yes,
pointing
we know.
right out.
He said it about 5 times and he's written it down on the notes. Hard nipples.
But-
you are literally a 7-year-old.
But those
Look
are-
at her nipples, look 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 at her nipples. Do you think that's method acting? Look, her nipples are out, her nipples are out, her
It
nipples
was
are out.
such method acting.
All right, we got it. You said it a number of times.
All I'd like to know is, what method was it?
Look into the camera and show your own self to yourself.
Amazing nipple acting, Nicole. How you did it, nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. Anyway, a cracking series.